2026 is not just another Formula One season, it's a complete reset. New cars, new engines, new aerodynamics, and entirely new energy systems are about to redefine everything drivers thought they understood. And whenever Formula One changes this drastically, history shows us one brutal truth. Some drivers rise and become legends, while others collapse under pressure. Careers that once looked unstoppable suddenly begin to crack. Confidence turns into hesitation, precision turns into mistakes, and drivers who once looked untouchable suddenly look vulnerable. But this time, there's one driver in particular whose entire reputation could be at risk. The pressure surrounding them is unlike anything they've faced before. The data already shows warning signs. The patterns are beginning to form, and what happens next could define their entire career. Will this be their greatest triumph, or the beginning of their downfall? Because in Formula One, when everything changes, nothing is guaranteed. The 2026 season represents the biggest technical revolution Formula One has seen in over a decade. Everything drivers have learned, every instinct they've built, and every reference point they've trusted is suddenly less reliable. The new power units now operate on a perfect balance between electric energy and combustion power, meaning drivers must manage energy more carefully than ever before. Racing is no longer just about speed. It's about intelligence. Every straight becomes a calculation. Every corner becomes a risk assessment. Use too much energy too early and you'll be defenseless later in the race. Save too much energy and you'll lose positions you may never recover. At the same time, active aerodynamics will constantly change how the car behaves. The car a driver feels in one moment may behave completely differently just seconds later. This destroys consistency, and consistency is the foundation of driver confidence. Even the most experienced drivers are essentially starting from zero again. Their instincts must be rebuilt. Their trust in the car must be rebuilt. Their confidence must be rebuilt. And while some drivers adapt quickly, others begin to fall behind almost immediately. In Formula One, falling behind is not just a performance issue, it becomes a psychological battle. The balance of power between teams is also shifting. Mercedes sees this regulation change as their opportunity to reclaim dominance. Ferrari believes their years of restructuring will finally deliver results. Red Bull faces uncertainty with their evolving powertrain situation, while Aston Martin continues investing aggressively to become a true championship contender. Meanwhile, new competitors like Cadillac enter the sport with enormous ambition, ready to disrupt the established order. But teams alone do not win championships. Drivers must unlock performance from machines no one fully understands yet. This is where pressure becomes dangerous, because Formula One doesn't measure effort, it measures results. Every driver has one reference point that matters most: their teammate. The same car, the same track, the same opportunity. If one driver adapts faster, the other is exposed immediately. Not by opinions or excuses, but by pure, undeniable data. Tenths of seconds begin to separate them. Small gaps grow into large ones, and those gaps create pressure. In previous seasons, drivers could rely on stability. They knew how the car behaved. They knew its limits. They knew how to recover when things went wrong. In 2026, that safety disappears. Cars will evolve constantly throughout the season. Software updates, aerodynamic adjustments, and energy deployment changes will force drivers to continuously relearn their own machines. This creates enormous mental pressure, because hesitation in Formula One is deadly. A driver who hesitates brakes earlier. A driver who doubts accelerates later. A driver who lacks confidence loses time everywhere. And once confidence begins to fade, mistakes begin to appear. Lockups, missed apexes, poor exits, energy mismanagement. These mistakes don't just cost positions, they damage belief. And belief is everything at this level. Every season, there are warning signs that reveal which drivers are struggling. Signals that fans may not immediately notice, but teams and engineers see clearly in the data. Small inconsistencies in long-run pace, slight errors in braking zones, energy deployment that isn't fully optimized, moments where the driver hesitates instead of attacking. These small weaknesses become dangerous in a season like 2026 because teammates adapt at different speeds. One driver unlocks performance immediately. The other struggles to find comfort. The gap begins small, but it grows quickly. 2/10, 3/10, half a second. And in Formula One, half a second is massive. Pressure builds internally. Questions begin inside the team. Questions begin inside the media. And eventually, questions begin inside the driver's own mind. Am I still fast enough? Am I still capable? Doubt becomes their greatest enemy. Formula One is not just a physical challenge. It is a mental war. Drivers must operate at the absolute limit of human capability while processing information instantly and making perfect decisions under extreme stress. When regulations change dramatically, mental strength becomes even more important than raw speed. Drivers must remain calm while everything feels unfamiliar. They must trust themselves even when results fluctuate. They must continue believing even when pressure increases. Some drivers thrive in these moments, others collapse. History has shown this repeatedly. Regulation changes, create new champions, and end other careers. Not because drivers forgot how to drive, but because they could not adapt quickly enough to the new reality. The favorites entering 2026 appear strong. Drivers like Verstappen, Russell, Norris, and Leclerc have demonstrated exceptional adaptability throughout their careers. They combine speed with intelligence, aggression with control, and confidence with precision. But even they are not immune to pressure, because this season introduces unknown variables no one can fully predict. Unexpected drivers may rise. Underdogs may surprise everyone. Opportunities may appear suddenly, and the championship may not be decided by who is fastest, but by who adapts fastest. The driver who learns quickest will gain the advantage. The driver who hesitates will fall behind. Every driver has a breaking point, a moment where pressure becomes overwhelming, a moment where performance begins to crack. In 2026, those moments may arrive sooner than anyone expects. Cameras capture everything. Mistakes become visible instantly. Frustration becomes public. Silence on team radio becomes meaningful. Fans notice, teams notice, and drivers notice it themselves. Once a driver begins questioning themselves, performance begins to decline. Not suddenly, but gradually. Confidence fades, aggression disappears, precision weakens. Until one day, they are no longer performing at the level they once did. The 2026 season will not just create winners, it will reveal survivors. Drivers who adapt will define the future of Formula One. Drivers who fail to adapt may see their careers permanently changed. Because Formula One never waits, it never slows down, it never shows mercy, it moves forward relentlessly. And the question remains, which driver will rise and which driver will collapse under pressure? Which driver will prove they belong in this new era? And which driver will be left behind? The answer will not be decided by reputation. It will be decided by adaptability, resilience, and mental strength. Because in Formula One, survival belongs to those who evolve.